CBS presents this program in color.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We think we have a very exciting show for you tonight.
Let's change the channel and see what else is on.
But first, my brother would like to make an important announcement. Right now, what do you want to say that's so important?
This is, well, here it is. I'd like to share this with the people of America and everybody here right now.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to say this for everyone.
Go ahead.
Pat Paulsen is a liar.
Now, Tommy, that is not a funny thing to say. That's,
I don't think...
Don't make jokes about
I'm
him.
not
That's
joking.
character.
He's lying because he's
What
been
makes
lying
you
to me and everybody.
What makes you think Pat Paulsen is a liar? What has he ever said that makes him a liar?
He said in front of America, in front of everyone, he said he is not running for the office of President of the United States. He said he wasn't, and
Fine.
he is.
Oh, he is. So you stand up here without Pat being able to defend himself, and in front of all these viewers say that he is a liar. That is unfair. That is crude. That is a nasty thing. Fact is, can someone bring Pat Paulsen? Pat, can they bring Pat out? I want you to say that to his face. I bet you you'll back down.
I will. Now I've got proof.
You don't have any proof. What do you mean? Pat, this is sort of embarrassing. I hate to bring you out like this because you're not, quite dressed yet. But Tommy wants to tell you something, and go ahead. I dare you. Go ahead.
Pat Paulsen, you're a liar. You are a liar.
What do you mean?
Are you running for the office of President of the United States?
No, absolutely not. I've stated time and time again that I have my work in California and I'm not interested in being president.
Oh,
I've said that about 5 times already.
I know you've said that. You say that. Did you recently appear on another network show on ABC, a show called Dick Clark, Happening 68, with Paul Revere and the Raiders and Mark Lindsay? Did you appear on that show, that ABC show? Did you?
Yes, I believe I did.
And didn't you announce that you were a candidate for President of the United States on that show?
No, certainly not. I'm not a candidate, and that's all.
No, yeah, you're a liar. And Pat Paul, and to prove it, here is an excerpt from that show, and I want you to watch this, then we'll just bring it right out in the open.
You don't have to go into that.
Well, never mind. Roll the film, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the next President of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pat Paulsen. Why are you running for the highest office in the nation?
Well, a lot of people think we're doing this for laughs, but we're really serious about it. We feel when the election comes, there'll be no choice for anybody, and therefore we want to put somebody in the White House to add a little charm and brightness.
Okay, Mr. Non-presidential candidate, what do you have to say about that after saying that?
Yeah, Pat, how do you explain that, huh?
I know it looks pretty bad. Well, I was misquoted.
It's the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour with guest stars Pete Seeger, Pat Paulsen, Leigh Frank, Scoey Mitchell, the Jimmy Joy Singers, the Louis Vuitton Dancers, and Nelson Riddle and his orchestra. From Television City in Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen, meet the Smothers Brothers.
Good evening and welcome to the Smothers Brothers Show. We are very proud tonight to have as our guest, once again, the great Pete Seeger.
You suppose CBS will let Tom and Dick do the laugh-in? I don't think so. NBC won't let us do their show. Oh.
Right now, we would like to do something for all those critics who claim that we always do everything together. My brother Tom and me will now sing an inspirational song. Take it, Tom. You know, what I'd like to do, I like to sing a song that has a very special meaning for me. It's been in my family now for several years. Well, actually, it concerns a member of my family, my father. You see, my father knew Lloyd George, and of course, Lloyd George knew my father. And I was always very proud of my father, you know, for knowing Lloyd George. And somehow I'm very proud of Lloyd George for knowing my father. And now, this is a song about my father and Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George. Father knew. His father Martin. His father Martin. His father Father. Father, 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 Father knew Lloyd George. You know, Lloyd George and my father were never really good friends, though. They hardly really even spoke. In fact, they just knew each other, but they weren't what you'd call, you know, real good friends. Actually, you know, I myself, I never even knew Lloyd George at all, but my father did. Didn't know him that well, though, you understand? They just sort of, you know, knew each other. Actually, Lloyd George, well, he knew my mother a lot better than he knew my father. My father never knew that, though. But he definitely did know Lloyd George, but no one ever knew how well Lloyd George knew my mother. I mean, well, they just knew that he knew my father well enough that he knew my mother much better. I thought I'd mention it because really nobody really knows about it. Oh, there's one thing. My father actually knew Lloyd George better than he knew my mother. That's one of the great things they had in common. They both knew Lloyd George better than they knew each other. But they didn't know that at all. Lloyd George knew it, though. That's another story altogether.
Lloyd George knew my father. Father knew Lloyd George.
tell me, you certainly have a way with a lyric, you know.
I do. Well, you know, we have a very interesting show tonight. It's kind of a rip-roaring, daring roller coaster type of show that'll probably send a lot of shivers and thrills through your frail bodies because, believe it or not, friends, we have 124 nude dancers, belly dancers, going to come bounding across the stage.
You're getting a little carried away. You're getting carried away. We do not have 124 belly dancers of any description.
53 belly dancers.
No.
9 belly dancers are going to come out dancing.
No belly dancers at all. Not one belly dancer.
Two guys working together as a team. Why didn't we think of that?
I specifically requested 124 belly dancers. I requested 124.
You certainly did. You did.
Well, that's what
I know it. You did, but you don't get the belly dancers because right now I'm going to sing a song and you're going to introduce it.
Right now, I'd like to introduce my little brother, Dickie Smothers. Lloyd George didn't know him at all, though. He actually didn't know Lloyd George either, but my brother now is going to sing a song called Lazy Days. Lloyd George liked the song very much, and he didn't even know that Dickie knew the song at all. So, friends, close your eyes, lean back, and I'm sure you'll say, boy, I could have been watching 124 belly dancers.
So that's Tom Smothers, huh?
Yeah.
I think his charm is rather infectious, don't you? Yeah, he does look a little infected.
But to show I have no hard feelings, I'm going to introduce the song, and I'm also going to help out in the musical portion by singing the introduction to help Dickie along in the song. It's a very beautiful song. Hit it, Nelson.
Blue skies, sunshine, what a day to take a walk in the park. Ice cream daydream till the sky becomes a blanket of stars. What a day for picking daisies and lots of red balloons. And what a day for holding hands and being with you. Lazy day, just right for loving away. Lazy day, made for us strolling the lane. Baby, you and me. Baby, you and me. And the honeybee. Beneath the shady tree. Oh, lazy day. Lazy day. Lazy day for you and me. You and me. Blue sky, sunshine, flowers bloom and children saying hello. Rowboats, bird notes, people smiling everywhere that they go. What a day to be together, and what a sky of blue, and what a day for thinking right out loud, I love you. Lazy day, just right for loving away. Lazy day, made for us strolling the lane, baby. Once again, it's time for the far-reaching Smothers poll, and tonight we're going right into our own backyard and examine the television industry. Now, perhaps no other entertainment medium has provoked so much controversy as television, and the majority of the criticism is directed at its programs. So tonight, the question is simple. As we ask the public, are you satisfied with the television programs of today? For our first interview, let's talk with a typical Los Angeles citizen, Mr. George Wallace. Good evening, Mr. Wallace.
Oh, hi there. You're Dickie Smothers, huh?
Right. Hey, say, Mr. Wallace, are you still having trouble with that name of yours?
Yeah, you know, it's a drag. People keep calling me, asking me if I'm running for president.
Well, are you running?
Well, they keep confusing me with the other Mr. Wallace.
Uh-huh.
See?
Well, are you going to be running?
Oh, no. No, I'm not running anywhere. Not unless he wins, then I'll run.
We have a question asked tonight, and actually, this is quite a coincidence to find you in front of the television set.
No, not really. I just got this set yesterday. My cousin got it for me. Walnut cabinet, full color, 27-inch picture tube, and I got one of these remote controls. You like it?
Yeah, it's quite a setup.
Yeah, my cousin got it for me. $8.
Wow, where'd he get such a bargain?
I don't know where he got it, but he told me when I watch it to sort of watch it like this.
Okay, Mr. Wallace, let's get right down to tonight's question.
Uh-huh.
Now, being a television viewer, what is your reaction to the current programs?
You know, I'm glad you asked me that. I don't think the TV programs give a true picture of life in this country. Yeah, they're unfair.
Now, how can you explain that?
Well, look, the Flying Nun is white.
Yeah?
Gomer Pyle is white.
Uh-huh.
Tarzan, with all the running he does around in the jungle, he's white. Even the cowboy in Africa is white. And 10% of the country is Negro. And the only colored star we got is Smokey the Bear.
But, Mr. Wallace, I seem to see more and more Negroes on television every day.
Yeah, but you get tired of watching basketball games.
Well, what about commercials?
Oh, the commercials aren't any fairer than the programs, really. A friend of mine was on one where he shaved underwater.
Well, what's unfair about that?
With an electric razor.
But there must be some way to get more Negroes on television.
Well, look, I told you before, 10% of the population is Negro, right?
Right.
So therefore, 1 out of every 10 programs should have a Negro star. Simple.
Well, 1 out of 10. You know, that sounds fair.
Sure.
But if it were true, you know, some very big stars might have to be replaced by Negroes, you know.
That's right.
You know, even one of the Smothers Brothers might have to be colored.
No, you can forget about that, baby.
Why?
We'd probably get the dumb one.
Thank you, and good night. George Wallace. Well, it's a fact that today's women watch more television than men since they naturally are at home a lot more. So we employed our computer to select a woman who is characteristic of the national audience. And that woman is Mrs. Abigail Gribbets of Seattle, Washington. Excuse me, Mrs. Gribbets. Ma'am, I'm Dick Smothers of the
Wait a minute, honey, I'll be there.
I'd like to ask you some questions. Mrs. Gribbets?
Honey, you wait, I said I'd be there.
No, there seems to be a misunderstanding, Mrs. Gribbets.
Don't call me Mrs. Gribbets, I'm your mother.
No, you're not my mother.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Arnie, what do you want?
Mrs. Gribbets, I'm not Arnie. I'm Dick Smothers of the Smothers Poll.
Oh, no!
Yes?
Oh, no! Dick Smothers! Oh, no! Oh, no!
Yes, Mrs. Gribbets.
Oh, I look awful!
Uh-huh.
Oh, no! Oh, this is awful.
No,
Oh, you're the dumb one, aren't
No.
you?
No.
I love you. I really do. Oh, I wish I knew you were coming.
Well,
How
if-
did you know? Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
No.
My husband's away. I don't always look like this.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mrs. Gribbets, I'd like to ask you a question.
I'm not on television, am I?
Well, as a matter of fact, you are.
Oh, no.
Now, Mrs. Gribbets, I just wanted... Mrs. Gribbets, I want to ask you...
I gotta have your autograph
But, Miss-
for my little Arnie. He's so sweet. Let me just get my pen. Oh, this is wonderful.
And now, back to Bonanza.
Oh, we were just wondering, Mrs. Gribbets, if you were satisfied with the television programs today.
Oh, you know,
so
this
many...
is the funniest thing thing you're not going to believe this one.
What?
Haas is locked in this closet with this strange little girl from the country. You know, she can't even read or write.
Yeah.
Oh, no! Look what she's doing to his leg.
Oh, Mrs. Griffiths.
I'm
That's very
telling
interesting,
you.
Mrs. Griffiths, but I'd like to ask you a question. Mrs. Griffiths. Mrs. Oh, for crying out loud. Well, I guess that concludes our interview. Well, at least we know that some people are satisfied with television as it is today. You know, it's said that no other organization has as much influence on television as the advertising industry. However, the fair-minded Smothers poll wants to hear both sides. So let's go to New York for a visit with the president of Madison Avenue's largest and most successful advertising firm. Good evening, sir. Excuse me. Sir, good evening. Hello?
Hi, come in. Come in. Come all the way in to the offices of Belden, Belkin, Batten, Barton, Booten, Bescom, Boone, and Shapiro. Known in the trade as BBBBB and BS.
How true. Tell me, sir, what do you look for when you create a television commercial for a sponsor?
3 basic magic miracle ingredients. Honesty, believability, and acetylsalicylic acid.
That's close, you know. That's interesting, you know. And what about the show itself? What do you look for when you decide to sponsor a show?
Truth and quality, but most of all, integrity.
Mm-hmm. But what if the show is not a hit?
Then we dump integrity and go for junk.
Well, sir, that's just it. You know, most programs on television today, quite frankly, are pure, unadulterated garbage.
That's true. However, one man's garbage is another man's prune Danish.
But don't you think this will drive people away from watching shows on television?
On the contrary, a recent survey has shown that today more people watch shows on television than on any other appliance. Toasters were second.
I see. Well, what do you feel is the most important concern of an advertising agency?
The most important thing is to find the right program for the right advertiser. For instance, one of our clients was the Dreamform Brazier Company, and we linked them up with a perfect show.
And what was that show?
The Big Valley.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
But the best match we ever made was when we got a call from the White House and President Johnson hired us to promote his popularity.
Well, what show did you get for him?
Mission Impossible.
Hey, I wish we could have said that on Laugh-In. We will.
Well, fortunately, I see that our time is about up. Now, can you briefly summarize what you see for television in the future?
Yes, television can remain a great American tradition as long as we, the advertisers, keep in mind the creeping menace that could destroy TV as we know it today.
Well, what is that?
Good taste.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the Smothers poll for tonight. And remember, movies are better than ever. Good night. God bless. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very fortunate to have back on our show a man who was on the first show of the season. He's a major influence on American music, and he's written such songs as Where Have All the Flowers Gone, Turn, 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 and with Leigh Hayes of the Weavers, the song If I Had a Hammer. And I think I'm safe in saying there's not a single singer of folk songs in America that doesn't know several of the songs that this man's composed. And also such songs as Michael Row the Boat Ashore, On Top of Old Smoky, Goodnight Irene, Kisses Sweeter Than Wine, and Weem Away are just a few of the songs that he has introduced and kept alive through his singing. We're very proud to have this man on our show, not only because he's a great man, a fine man, and a great performer, but also because he performs rarely on television. In fact, he's only made one major television appearance in the last 17 years. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to present on our show for the second time, Mr. Pete Seeger.
How do I know my youth is all spent? My get up and go has got up and went. But in spite of it all, I'm able to grin and think of the places my get-up has been. Old age is golden, so I've heard said, but sometimes I wonder as I crawl into bed, with my ears in a drawer, my teeth in a cup, my eyes on the table until I wake up. As sleep dims my vision, I say to myself, is there anything else I should lay on the shelf? But though nations are warring and business is vexed, I'll still stick around to see what happens next. How do I know my youth is all spent? Might get up and go, has got up and went. But in spite of it all, I'm able to grin and think of the places my get-up has been. I get up each morning, dust off my wits, open the paper, read the obits. If I'm not there, I know I'm not dead, so I eat a good breakfast and go back to bed. How do I know my youth is all spent? My get up and go has got up and went. But in spite of it all, I'm able to grin and think of the places my get up has been. If they're going to make a patriarch out of me, I'll fix them. I'll sing you a pop song of 200 years ago. Come to think of it, I'll sing you little bits of some other songs of other American wars. 1846, war with Mexico. Not everybody agreed with this one, you know. Abe Lincoln, he voted against it himself. But they went in, the soldiers did. Pretty little pink, I once did think you and I would marry. But now that you have turned me down, I'll no longer tarry. I put my knapsack on my back, my gun upon my shoulder, fly away to Mexico to be a valiant soldier. 1863, well, wasn't agreement here neither. Let's see. But a great song, one of America's greatest. John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave. John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave. John Brown's body lies a-mouldering in the grave, but his soul goes marching on. 1898, war with Spain, invasion of the Philippines, more disagreement. Mark Twain thought that President McKinley should be boiled in oil, but that didn't stop McKinley, and the soldiers went in. This is not a very pretty song. Damn, damn, damn the Filipino, cross-eyed, cocky-eyed ladrone, and beneath the starry flag, civilize them with a crag, and go back to our own beloved home. If there's any Philippine people listening, I hope you pardon me. I'm just trying to get the history out. A far better soldier song is one written in 1917 by black soldiers, and every GI since has learned it. Oh, the coffee that they give you, they say is mighty fine. Good for cuts and bruises, tastes like iodine. I don't want no more of army life. Gee, but I wanna go. Gee, but I wanna go. Gee, but I wanna go home. I learned that song myself. It was back in 1942. I was a member of a good platoon. We were on maneuvers in Louisiana one night by the light of the moon. The captain told us to ford a river. That's how it all begun. We were knee-deep in the big muddy. The big fool said to push on. Well, the sergeant said, "Sir, are you sure this is the best way back to the base?" "Sergeant, go on. I've forded this river about a mile above this place. It'll be a little soggy, but just keep slogging. We'll soon be on dry ground." We were waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool said to push on. The sergeant said, "Sir, with all this equipment, no man will be able to swim." "Sergeant, don't be nervous, Nellie," the captain said to him. "All we need is a little determination. Men, follow me, I'll lead on." We were neck deep in the big muddy. The big fool said to push on. All at once the moon clouded over. We heard a gurgling cry. A few seconds later, the captain's helmet was all that floated by. The sergeant said, "Turn around, men, I'm in charge from now on." And we just made it out of the big muddy with the captain dead and gone. We stripped and dived and found his body stuck in the old quicksand. I guess he didn't know that the water was deeper than the place he'd once before been. Another stream had joined the big muddy about a half mile from where he'd gone. We were lucky to escape from the big muddy when the big fool said to push on. Well, I'm not going to point any moral. I'll leave that for yourself. Maybe you're still walking, you're still talking, you'd like to keep your health. But every time I read the paper, them old feelings come on. We're waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool says to push on. Waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool says to push on. Waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool says to push on. Waist deep, neck deep, soon even a tall man will be over his head. We're waist deep in the big muddy. The big fool says to push on.
We'll be right back with Pete Seeger, Pat Paulsen, and Leigh French on the second half of the Smothers Comedy Brothers Hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a result of my brother and I working in Las Vegas, we have learned to appreciate the loss. I must have extreme quiet during this. You must remain adult at all times. Can you go back on the top of the cars there? As a result, ladies and gentlemen, of my brother and I working in Las Vegas, we have learned to appreciate the Las Vegas style of production number. And here is my brother Tom singing at his very best in a number dedicated to and featuring the most important ingredient in any Las Vegas production number. And that ingredient, of course, is legs. So here's my brother Tom with, for the first time on television, 30, count them, folks, 30 topless dancers. So take it away.
Hello, I love your legs. I bet they're smoother than some eggs and sweeter than a bouquet of flowers. And they're shaped so right, you know I even might sing songs to those sweet legs of yours. I love your toes, and heaven only knows I'm thankful for your ankles. Oh, whoa, whoa. I raise my eyes to gaze up on your thighs, but that's about as far as I can go. Whoa, whoa, I sure could adore such ice sugar legs as yours. They're honeys and I want you to know, whoa, 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 that those legs you've got, they surely hit the spot. I love them wherever they go. I sure could adore such ice sugar legs as yours. They're honeys, and I want you to know that those legs you've got, they really hit the spot. I love them wherever they go.
Hello, ladies. Once again, it's time to share a little tea with Goldie, a program for you, the woman of today, a program designed to keep you above what's happening. So won't you join us as we share a little tea with Goldie?
Hi, ladies. Once again, it's time to get above what's happening. And you know, to start the show off today, I'd like to show you all an item, for all of you who live in the city, an item that you will all soon be wearing. You can look forward to this. It's a gas mask. Yes, ladies, as sure as you live and breathe, we know that air pollution in its own small way is going to wipe us out. It sure is, and you know the logical answer is, of course, just split from the city. Get out of it. We know that you don't want to leave that beautiful tract home that you and everybody else just bought. Oh, no, not for the life of you. So get ready, girls. This is the look of tomorrow. But for those of you who just wouldn't be caught dead wearing one of these unsightly old gray gas masks, we have something very feminine and very charming for you. Isn't this lovely? Oh, I love mine. And just think of all the money you're going to save on cosmetics. It's very enhancing to your face. Well, ladies, we'll be right back with a little kitchen quickie right after this word from our sponsor.
Love. L-O-V-E.
Wow! What a groovy sponsor we have. Isn't it nice to be brought to you by Love? Why not use it? You'll dig it. And of course, it's guaranteed. Now, ladies, it's time for our little kitchen quickie. And you know, oh, this one was sent to us by Mrs. Elwood Rowe of Wiener, Arkansas. Far out. I was hitchhiking through there once. Oh, wow. That's far out. Mrs. Rowe says, I made a fantastic discovery last summer when my husband and I went on our vacation. He decided not to shave for 4 weeks, and so did I. Now my husband shaves twice a day. Thank you, Mrs. Rowe, for that groovy little hint. And remember, ladies, if you have a groovy hint, you just roll it up and send it in, and if it's really groovy, we'll share it. You know, ladies, from time to time, I think of you out there, and I want to bring you something of interest to the shoppers, you know, You're all looking for an item, you know, a new product, something to really help you in the home, and I know how burdened you are with your work and everything, and I think I found the product for you, ladies. It's called Home Foam, and there it is. It's an all-purpose foam for the home. It's far out, too. I really love my can. You know, it has thousands.
We couldn't ever say that on Laugh-In.
And, you know, one of the nice things about it, it has no special ingredients. It's just plain old foam. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? Have you ever seen anything quite so beautiful as plain old white foam? And you know, ladies, what's so far out about this particular product is it does everything. Everything. You can clean with it, you can wax with it, you can disinfect with it, and it's a great deodorant. And you know, you can decorate with it, you can even shave with it, Mrs. Rowe. And you know, you can stick pencils in it, put out fires with it. You can do an infinite number of things and more. And I just blow my mind with it half the time. And you know, one of the far out things, you can paint with it. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I love it. And you know, you can decorate a whole room. In fact, you can fill a room with it if you want to, and then just get in there and play. And remember, ladies, the next time you and your husband have an argument, just put it all over each other, and you'll end up laughing and loving each other. Well, ladies, our time's just about up, and next week we'll discuss how to get rid of roaches. Meanwhile, remember, girls, love is guaranteed.
This has been a Share a Little Tea with Goldie, an irregular feature of the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour.
Wished I had a dime, wished I had a pretty gal, kiss her all the time. Round and round, old Joe Clark, round and round I say. Round and round, old Joe Clark, I'm a-going away. Gonna get me six and my down my chimney high. Gonna keep that old tomcat from putting out that fire. Hey, round and round, old Joe Clark, round and round I say. Round and round, old Joe Clark, I'm a-going away. Take it, Tom. Not me, you take it. Well, I don't like old Joe Clark, no, I never shall. I don't like old Joe Clark, but I like this little gal.
Her face is like a coffee pot, her nose is like a spout, her mouth is like a fireplace with the ashes all rushed out. Hey!
Round and round, old Joe Clark, round and round I say. Round and round, old Joe Clark, I'm a-going away. Yes, round and round, old Joe Clark, round and round I say. Round and round, old Joe Clark, I'm a-going away. Hey!
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is really a lot of fun to sing those folk songs. You know, we're going to sing a song now that Pete told Tommy and I. He said the words were written by some bearded fellow who wore sandals.
Yeah, well, I figured there was
Yeah.
I figured there was a hippie.
What do you mean? You think
Bearded
it was
guy.
a beatnik or something?
No, I don't think so. At least I didn't use that word. It was 5,000 years ago.
He wrote it 5,000 years ago?
Well, that's what I'm told that's what the book says.
It's been around a long time, hasn't it?
Well,
Who was
Who's
the
been a
guy?
good seller?
Who wrote it?
the book gives his name as Ecclesiastes. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant, a time to reap. A time to kill, a time to heal. A time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven.
A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together.
To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven.
A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing.
To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven.
A time to gain, a time to lose,
A time to rend, a time to sow,
A time of love, a time of hate, a time of peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven.
Thank you very much. You've been a really grand audience for tonight. And before we say goodnight, we would like to thank our guest for tonight. There was Mason Williams, our Vice President, Patrick Paulsen. There's so many. There's Leigh French, and of course, Scoey Mitchell, and
Of course, we want to give a special thanks to Mr. Pete Seeger for being on the show again.
we think we got a really...
Who are Rowan and Martin anyway?
Rowan and Martin, I think it's a team, a songwriting team.
Songwriting team?
Yeah, Broadway.
I thought it was they always doing punch it at me all the time. I don't know.
Stop, sock it to me.
You mean you don't enjoy watching the Smothers Brothers? I never liked them together.
Oh. Come on, Dick, don't mess around. Next week.
That's just not your sack, that's all.
Okay, next week our guest will be Jackie Moms Mabley.
Moms Mabley. We love her.
Glenn Campbell, who will be replacing us,
We hope
taking
not
the summer
permanently.
show. Well, I don't know,
I
the way
hear
things
you.
go sometimes.
That's-
Glenn Campbell and a very talented songwriter, Mr. John Hartford. That's Moms Mabley, Glenn Campbell, and John Hartford.
Your mouth really works great tonight, doesn't it?
Well, I've been watching those guys on Laugh-In. They don't have to say anything.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
The Bicycle Gas was previously recorded. Film on Lazy Days by Group 1. This is Roger Carroll.
If you could put Terry